Ladies and gentlemen, hello. My name is not important. I am not a scientist, an archaeologist, a doctor, a theoretical physicist, or anything else of significant importance. What I am is only a believer. If you would let me have a few moments of your time, I would like to take you on a journey. So strap in tight, relax, and open up your imagination as we step into a world of speculation, curiosity, and possible realities. Human beings have always been a curious race of hunters, gatherers, and explorers. We have explored most of the land masses on Earth and only a fraction of our oceans. So therefore, most of what we know is altogether incomplete. Most of what lies at the bottoms of our oceans and in the dense jungles upon the Earth is mostly unexplored. At the bottoms of our oceans, the pressure is so great, it would crush you and your subnautical vehicle like a used soda can. And the jungles are so vast and thick, it would be difficult to take note of every single living creature out there. Therefore, new species are discovered almost every single day. Being the explorers that we are, where do we go next? Human beings have always been fascinated with the cosmos, the great, everlasting, never-ending vastness of space. Until recent times, humans have only ever been able to quote-unquote see the heavens with only our eyes and imagination, never truly knowing just how small and insignificant we truly are. There are more stars out there in just our Milky Way galaxy alone than there are grains of sands on all of the Earth. Stars not altogether unlike our very sun. All these stars with the capability of having Earth-like planets in what we call the Goldilocks zone, an area within a distance of their sun where it's not too cold and not too hot, where planets could have liquid water, thus sustaining the possibility of life. And we as a species are led to believe that we're alone, that there is nobody out there. Can you really tell me that with our level of intelligence, we can truly be a species that would believe in such fairy tales? We start our journey in the near future. Being a race of explorers, we eventually turn our sights up. The closest celestial body in our solar system, the moon. You see, we have been to the moon in the past, regardless of what crazy conspiracy theories that are out there. And yes, we even had a floating base in our orbit known as the ISS, or the International Space Station. So it just makes sense that one day we would return to the moon. We build our rockets, our shuttles, and we take supplies to the moon where we build bases, explore, build more bases, and eventually, we colonize our moon. And once again, being the explorers that we are, we will look further. Possibly Mars or even the outer stratosphere of Venus, where we could live comfortably in cloud cities, which is theoretically possible. But let's set our sight on Mars. Seeing as our now colonized moon rotates around Mother Earth, it logically gets closer to Mars than the Earth does. So, we take our supplies from the moon and we travel to Mars. And once again, we explore, build our bases, take more supplies, build more bases, and try our best, and eventually, we terraform Mars. To those who don't know what terraforming is, it's to take a dead planet and make it more Earth-like, able to sustain Earth-based life. So now that we have accomplished this once grandeur mission, we became a multi-planetary civilization. However, being the curious explorers that we are, it's just simply not enough. Still not enough. We want to go further. And this is where we got to do our homework, because we obviously can't just pick some random star and go there. We have to find a star within the mythological Goldilocks zone. Come on, people, you know they gotta be out there. There is no way with all that is out there that we are truly alone. Just throw that kind of thinking out the window now, because this is the journey. and it has only just begun. So we think we found a planet close enough to the star that we truly believe to be the perfect habitat for us to explore. How do we get there? There are many theories and possible technologies that could get a craft there. Eventually. Eventually being the key word here. But the cold hard truth is, as technology is today, we won't make it there in our lifetime. Or the next, or maybe even the one after that. But as a species, we will eventually reach our destination. The most likely turn of events will be this. We will build what will be known as generational starships, where we would live, breed, and pass on our knowledge and determination. So even if we do not make it there in our lifetime, who's to say that eventually, maybe 5, 7, or even 12 generations down the line, our children's children's children, etc., will finally reach their destination? Whoa, let's hit the brakes on that. Step back and take a look at the journey and a few possible things that could happen to us along the way. Gravity when traveling through space, some form of artificial gravity, is crucial. Without gravity, our bodies would deteriorate, so our generational starship would have to be large and round. It would rotate in a way that would cause centrifugal motion pushing outward. That's creating a form of rotational centrifugal artificial gravity. In being our first real attempt at artificial gravity, who says it works perfectly? What happens then? Yes, it cuts down on eventual bone loss greatly, but not completely. And as a result, we evolve over the generations. Our bodies will eventually shrink. Our brains being our greatest tool for survival now, where we store our knowledge of our journey and the science and intelligence we will need to reach our destination. Being one of our greatest assets, will most likely over the generations grow larger, giving us large heads. Now onto the artificial lighting. This could be an issue. Not getting as much light that our bodies are used to from our mother sun, our skin will eventually turn a lighter color, not creating the necessary pigment to naturally block out harmful UV rays, making us a pale color. And the fact that there is less light would mean that our eyes would have to grow larger, and our pupils would expand to absorb available light. So now let's take a look at ourselves. Over the generations, these harsh conditions, small bodies, large heads, wider gray skin, and large black eyes. Does this sound familiar? Is that our evolutionary destination to become what we once viewed as the gray aliens? It makes sense. Through biological evolution, this is a possibility. But let's not get carried away. What? Oh, we must have lost track of time. Take a look. We finally made it to our planet of destination. We did it. So let's take a look and see what's going on down there on the surface. Well, there seems to be some form of advanced intelligent life. Not all that different from our ancestors. How fascinating. What should we do now? First, we will observe them. And yes, they do seem to be rather intelligent. Primitive, but intelligent nonetheless. Although they do seem rather behind in their technology. Okay, first thing people will have to understand is technology is not intelligence. You can be as smart as the next guy on the block, and still, if you have never seen the technology and you don't understand how it works, that doesn't mean you're stupid or not as smart as the guy who's using it. You have just never had the chance to experience it before. Some really smart guy once said, any significantly advanced technology would appear as magic to someone who has never seen it before and doesn't understand how it works. Or something like that. Basically, you show a caveman a lighter. You just created fire with the flip of a button. Take that same caveman and his tribe hunting, and drop a buffalo with a single bullet. A task that would have taken him and his tribe a great deal of work and possibly a few lives, just for dinner. And you drop it with a single flash and a loud bang from your shining staff. They've never seen this before. You must be a wizard, right? Technology and intelligence are very different indeed. Anyways, so we see this intelligent species, and what do? Well, we study them. We can learn their languages and the way they communicate among one another. We may take a few of them on board to take some DNA samples, some blood, skin, and muscle cells, whatever we might need to reconstitute how weak and decrepit our bodies are now. Because we lost a lot of mass through the long and tedious journey. We shall do this in secret. We try not to cause damage to the species as a whole, or cause widespread panic or any significant damage to their habitat. And once we feel we've learned enough and are confident enough, we will descend in our shuttles and make contact. We will teach them things. Agriculture, mathematics, teach them of the stars and constellations. How to work the land for food, and most importantly, we will teach them to build civilizations. But being the explorers that we are eventually going to have to strap in for the journey home. But in doing so, we make them a promise that one day, we shall return. We may leave a scientist or two behind so that they may breed the population to possibly further them genetically to even greater heights. But with time, we know we will eventually become myth. Down the line, a few generations, maybe a few more generations after that, we're just stories that their ancestors passed down. So in response to this realization, we decided to leave behind a few calling cards. A mark on this distant planet just to say, hey, we were here. As biological materials decay, metal rusts and erodes, we decide to use stone because we know it can withstand the test of time. So thousands of years, and maybe thousands of years beyond that, when their scientists and archaeologists will look at these massive structures and the intricacy, they will be baffled. How? How did they build these things with their primitive technology when we can't even do it with our level of technology that we have today? They will look to their religions and legends, and they shall read about how the gods of ancient times descended in their flaming chariots, giving them a gift of knowledge, wisdom, and to help them to build structures for their civilizations around the world. And then as a species, they will open their eyes to the one truth, the one reality. We have to look deep down inside ourselves and look past the myth and ask ourselves, isn't that what happened to us? You see, you have to understand, our term of reference is much different in modern times. Back in the day, they didn't have words like spaceship, alien. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, they did. They called them gods and angels, beings of light descending upon earth in their flaming chariots, giving them gifts of knowledge and wisdom. The truth is out there. We are not alone. Isn't it funny? That day we come to the realization that one day we ourselves became the aliens, or the gods of the ancient past. Free your mind, and most importantly, believe. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed that fantastic story by David Bender. He actually sent this to me, and I'll try to leave links to his social media in the description down below, so I encourage you to go show him some love for this story. If you did enjoy it, please make sure to hit the like button, click subscribe, and the little bell so you can be notified when my videos pop up. Tell me how you're enjoying this October extravaganza of videos. And as always, my Darkness Militia, have a terrifying evening.